I would like to make next moderators for the second section, Dr. Karthikeyan. He is a professor in Department of Consultant Dentistry and Endodontics at SRM Dental College. He has completed his BDS in Ramapuram Dental College in the year of 2001 and completed the PG in Raga Dental College in 2006. His area of interest is on microendodontics. He has been a moderator for several scientific sessions and has publication of his credit at national and international journals, and it's a reviewer for some prestigious journal. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Ravi. Very good afternoon, one and all. On behalf of the organizing team and the management, I welcome Dr. Arun Kulandaivelu. Dr. Arun Kulandaivelu is a passionate clinician. His constant wish to learn more innovative, precise, and painless treatment made him moved to University of Vienna, Austria, where he learned everything about lasers. Eventually started his own Academy of Excellence in Laser Dentistry. Dr. Arun Kulandaivelu has been associated with a number of high-end corporate clinics like Vasan Dental, Apollo White Dental. He is blessed with a perfect balance combination needed for successful directed entrepreneur. He moved on to start up a venture, Law Dentist. Law Dentist dental care are the hybrid with best practice of both corporate dental clinics and individual practices, striking a balance between the quality and cost efficient dental treatment. These dental care centers are in part for 150 centers in Chennai and 100 centers across Malaysia, Sri Lanka, Middle East, and Asia Pacific countries. I once again welcome Dr. Arun Kulandaivelu to deliver this lecture. Thank you.
Unmute yourself, Arun. We are not able to hear you. No, you're not. You're not audible.
Now it's coming, madam. Now,
yeah, it's audible.
Laptops, computers are like your wives. It takes a long time to understand them, and it's the same experience for me also. I'm not a tech savvy, and though I am successful clinician, little bit, and successful businessman, tech is something which is a huge weakness for all of us. Team SRM for inviting me here back, because I feel back home. That was the reason I took this privilege to come back to SRM and do from the same very department where I started my career as an academician. Good and bad things are learned in your college, as well as good and bad things are learned when you work in your first professional place. So I've learned a lot of things, how to manage people. So people management is one of key success stories, or it's a biggest recipe for being an entrepreneur or being in any business. So when Rajkumar sir and the organizing team asked me can you talk about being successful in dental as a business? So I was just thinking about what should I tell, this question was something like my dad asked me a few years before, would you like to get married? So the same question I also felt, what do I say for it? And second, he asked me, whom do you like to marry? So whether dentist, non-dentist, something like that. So this question was also something like that. So I kept thinking, what should I kind of prepare for this presentation? So that is where I went back to, let me share my screen. So that is why I went back to thinking what should be my first slide. So obviously first slide should be what I'm doing now. So slowly I started from dental and slowly migrated towards dental plus general health. So that is what I am today. I manage a dental chain called 32 Dental Care. We are about 28, 29 centers in Chennai, with a wish list to expand to alternative pin codes in Chennai. So Chennai has 120 pin codes. So we have a wish list to be in alternative pin codes, which means 60 clinics in Chennai is one thing which we are at plan. Tamil Nadu as a state has 38 districts. So we would wish to be at every district of Tamil Nadu, district headquarters of Tamil Nadu. That is a small goal which we are working towards in dental business. Then I run a hospital, which is a secondary care hospital called Westminster Hospital in Chennai, which is, I'd say, 70,000 square feet with 3 operation theaters with the 50 beds, with all state of a diagnostic center. And then I also now start and manage an medical advisory health tech platform, which is called as Care Moto. So this was what I've been doing purely into healthcare and wanted to go big on healthcare. So what does it do to the lecture today? When we are trying to talk to interns about what is their future, why do I need to tell all these stories to you? So the point here is, when a non-dental person goes into administrative roles of running dental chains, medical hospitals, medical colleges, pharmaceutical companies, health tech platforms, why not a qualified dentist who has basic knowledge of healthcare, whether it is full or half, but comparing a non-medical person, we have a fair understanding of the science. So why don't we also try it, was the question which I tried experimenting. I never felt a big challenge in it, in managing hospitals where you'll have to manage a radiologist, urologist, neurologist, general surgeon, orthopedician, ENT, ophthal, any branch for that matter. It takes the first few days to understand the science and give a very definitive solution. So the message here is, if we wish to be successful, and if we wish to be in healthcare, when a non-dental person can become very successful in healthcare, a dentist is more than sufficient qualification for us to become very successful in any of the healthcare vertical. So that was the reason I wanted to put this slide and start from there. As coming back to the lecture, how do we tell what you need to do after you pass BDS, was the message which Madam wanted me to communicate to you. So when I was thinking about it, what came into my mind was very simple, that I am blank. So it's the same situation I feel most of the students who are intern or who are just past listening to the lecture would simultaneously feel the same thing. Okay, all of you would be blank. So let me address this problems, what I feel you would have, I feel you might have in your mind, versus how do you take and move from there on. So keeping that in mind, I just made some questionnaire to myself and started getting an answer towards it. Sorry? I think my slide is not coming in, but anyway, you want to start? Yeah, this is the slide. I think the doubt was the slides background is alone seen. There is no content in it. So if that is the problem, madam, if I'm correct, there is a background and the slide is empty.
Yeah, but still,
Yeah. Okay.
it's not on screenshots.
Oh, it is not seen at all on the screen.
No, it is. Now it is.
Correct,
It is
correct.
blank. It is blank.
Okay, it is blank. Okay, I am blank on the topic. So my slide is also blank. And then we are now trying to discuss and find out how do we navigate from a blank site, blank slide to a blank site towards a light of hope where we can move from dentistry. So for the interns, once again, coming back, or for the students who are in dentistry who's listening here, why did I join BDS is one question all of you would have in your mind, except for those who have their family, who have dentists as their parents or relatives wanted them to go back to dentistry. All others had one common reason to become a dentist, because that was the most cost-effective way to add a doctor in front of your name. Okay? That was the same reason for me also to become a dentist. So why am I BDS? Most of us know the answer. Now, being coming to BDS, crying, cribbing of not able to become successful or not able to create an opportunity is not the solution. I know, as most of us know, once you're into the profession, and if you feel that you will have to succeed and come out, then you will have to start finding your way out. To become a successful person in business or education or in any of your life, you should have one character called perseverance. You'll have to keep pursuing anything and everything what you wish to do. And every failure, you'll have to take it as a lesson and keep looking at another opportunity and keep trying these opportunities. To sit in front of you today, you would have only known the successes, what I would have tasted or what I would have been known for. But I've also, as a person, felt a lot of failures in every stage of my life, as a student, as a postgraduate, as a clinician, as a professional, as a businessman. So every person at every point of life has to face a failure. Without failure, your life doesn't feel interesting and thrilled. So, but you'll have to take a lesson out of that failure and not stop trying it. You'll have to keep trying is the message with, you'll have to keep it inside your mind. So now that you've been into dentistry, most of you who are listening this lecture would have been in your internship. When it comes to internship, all of you have two talks in front of you. Some of you will talk, why did I join this course? Because it took me 4 years to know that I've picked up a wrong profession. No, it should not be the talk which you should do after 4 years. Okay, unless you believe on the profession what you do and believe on yourself that you can do, you can never ever move forward in your life. So stop talking and stop thinking about that. Second, what do I need to do now? Anyway, I'm inside 4 years on. Now I'm sitting at internship. What should I do? So a basic small tip or a basic small message which I would like to give it to most of the interns who are listening to it is, as intern, anything and everything in your dental textbook, particularly in your clinical textbooks of your 7 departments, try and at least know their names. So now that is all about dentistry. You should know what in dentistry you are supposed to read and what in dentistry you are supposed to treat. It doesn't mean that you have the capability to do all those treatment, because nobody is perfect and nobody can do everything like every one of that specialist. But as a dentist, you should have this base building exercise within you. When the internet connection is unstable, that's fine, I can proceed. Okay, so you should have this minimum ability to know that what all as a dentist I should know, at least by the name. That is a very basic thing which I commonly tell all of my students whenever I teach, wherever I go and start a practice. Anybody joining me, I tell, boss, anything and everything in dentistry below the sky, above the soil, you should know by name at least. If you could know how this procedure can be done, not to practice, but at least to explain to your friends, family, or your patients. This is a minimum first step of success you have, because once you know that, you at least will start believing as dentist, your skill sets is way bigger than any of the ophthalmologist or a ENT surgeon or a radiologist or a gastroenterologist or a general surgeon. Because this is something which I came to know very late in my career after I went into healthcare, managing hospitals, managing doctors. Then the amount of procedures and amount of knowledge which medical science has refined a medical practitioner is way lesser than the science and knowledge as general dentist we are supposed to know. So as a dentist, if you can learn all these things, at least to understand by name, at least to explain to your patients, that is the minimum as an intern you should be knowing it. And if at all somebody asks you to talk for a 10 minutes about any one of your topics in dentistry, you should be confident enough to talk that particular topic to a fullest extent. Let us say all our graduates who are in internship, first all of you complain, or first all of you are worried is, after I qualify, I go asking or scouting for a job, I don't get a job. This is the first thing which most of the dental graduates, undergraduates have, told me, as well as I've heard from their parents who have made them study dentistry. With that in mind, I generally ask the particular graduate one question: boss, do you know all 7 departments common procedures which can be done as a dentist, though you need not do it, or you're not skilled enough to do it, or you're not confident enough to do it as a separate topic as per se. But do you know, as these 7 departments on the clinical side, what all procedures as a general dentist or as a specialist somebody should know? Do you know this? Is something which I ask them. Second question I ask them is, are you capable enough to explain about these procedures to your patients or your family or your friend when somebody calls you and asks about it? Okay, an example I'll tell. As an intern, you ask you this question to yourself: if your uncle or aunt is going to call you back and ask, Mr. Suresh, you're my cousin, you're in the internship, or you just completed dentistry, I have an edentulous mouth, I'm wearing a removable denture, can you suggest me what is a good option that I should opt for when I go to a dental clinic? The interns who are listening to me, just touch your heart and answer this question to yourself. How many of you can talk about the treatment solutions which is available to the patient? 90%, 95% of us will all tell there's something called as a complete denture. Some of us will tell, okay, boss, there is something called as an implant supported denture. But very few or none of us at an internship level would have learned there is an implant solution which can be done at 2 implants over denture, ball and socket. It can be all on 4, which can be screw retained hybrid denture. It can be all on 6, which can be an Marlowe bridge cement retained. It can be an all on 8, which can be a screw retained Marlowe bridge. Okay, being a conservative dentist and endodontist, I never learned this. But when I went to practice as a full-time clinician, the hard facts of answering my patient's query pushed me to keep learning anything and everything which comes in dentistry. And I kept me updated on it, because that was the biggest recipe for a successful clinician. So keeping that in mind, so as an intern, what are you supposed to do? Try and go back to your textbook. Learn all the names, what is available as a clinician, as general dentist, you're supposed to do, but at least learn the names. Read about it and discuss among your friends by explaining them, or go back to your home, explain to your parents, telling that when there is a cavity in between the tooth, it is called as a class 2. Your parents, your patients doesn't want to know your technical knowledge, technical terms, but they would like to know what is that disease. So if there is a cavity in between the tooth, you tell you have a class 2 to a patient, nobody understands it. But try and prepare yourself to talk to a layman, talk to your mother, talk to your auntie, talk to your grandmother in home, explain treatments to them and ask them what they understood. They will tell, boss, what are you talking? I don't understand anything. Then your patients are also on the same mental setup to understand what you're trying to do. Try and simplify things, what you have read in book. Tell there is a cavity in between the tooth. When there is a cavity in between the tooth, the options are very simple. I can do a filling, but you might get food stuck in between the tooth. I can go for another option, which is called as an indirect filling, which means I will indirectly take a measurement, fabricate it in the lab, and I will fix it in. If that is not solving, and if the cavity is deep enough, let us think about an advanced option in future. If you can talk these layman language about all those treatments, what you have learned in dental school, when you go for a dental job or when you go for an opportunity with any of the dental clinics, when a doctor asks you or when the clinician asks you, boss, what have you learned? If you can tell other than scaling, filling, and you can add a list of names of the treatment, which you can explain and convince a patient if he or she is being diagnosed for that problem. That is the greatest gap which we see in the dental graduates who pass on today. So whenever, as we run a huge number of clinic with the 80 plus undergraduates and 40, 45 plus postgraduates working with our dental chain, we manage 120 dental graduates on our payroll. Every time when I see a graduate who joins after 1 or 2 years, and when they exit our organization, I see them talk a different sense to their patients, because that is one recipe which as an organization, as an individual, we could educate a dentist who's graduated, and we can transform them to a clinician who can effectively communicate. So this communication skill is something which you will have to learn as an undergraduate, and you will have to practice when you are an intern to your own patients who sits on your chair whenever they come for treatment. That is the serious side of dental profession, and that is the serious note of what dental graduates today are when they graduate out of a dental college. So what an institution should do is also a responsibility where most of the institutions should do is instead of producing a graduate who is qualified, we should also give importance to graduates who are employable, because a graduate who is passed is not deemed to be employable. So institutions, institutional heads and organizations have to slowly think on something where we'll have to guide our undergraduates at the internship level to make them employable or build their confidence on the treatments, what they do. So this is something which I, instead of complaining or instead of only putting the burden on the graduate, I'm also putting it fairly on the institutions to take that responsibility as well. But the mindset which I have seen with most of the undergraduates when it comes to internship is, I see these three things when they come to internship. They talk about friendship, they talk about relationship, they talk about black sheep. So they want to see who's my friend for last 4 years. They want to worry about their friendship for the next 20 years. Don't worry, boss, all of them will be with you rest of your life. But then you see where you're going to be after this 5th year. The relationship is something very funny, which, that point of age, everybody wanted to have a relationship. So when you enter an internship, everybody wanted to have a relationship. Try and have a relationship more towards your academic skill. Try and have a relationship where you can build your vocal skills, convincing capabilities. And last thing is, we try and fight and complain against each other. And we try to find who's the black sheep among our batchmates. Okay, these are the three things which commonly I see in most of the dental colleges, wherever I've been, whomever I have been interacted. Internship, with my knowledge, because these are the three things which I did. So I'm not telling the students everywhere did. So what I did in my college days, in my internship, I thought, okay, boss, I have entered BDS. I've completed 4 years. Now that in life I've achieved what I am supposed to achieve. That is not the true fact which you have to feel happy about it, boss. You've been trained and you've been prepared to go fight the battle. So that 4 years of your training is not that you won a battle, your preparation for the battle. So which means after this 5th year, you've been thrown into an atmosphere of war where you will have to fight your way out to become a clinician, academician, entrepreneur, businessman, or at least to be successful human being. So this 4 years of preparation is not the end of your war. It is your preparation for war. So your 5th year internship is your final preparative step. If you don't prepare there, then you are on the open world, which is at war, and you are not there, and you're not going to successfully be there on the race if you are underprepared. So my friends who are there in undergraduate in internship, this 11, 12 months of internship is the time which will determine your future for next 10 or 12 years. So, take it very seriously and try doing something sensibly. So I've just put few points with me to address or to explain to you what all you can do. For some of you who are clueless, for some of you who have enough clue, who have seen your seniors working on it, who have seen successful clinician achieving their, it's a value addition I'm trying to give it to you. So coming back, what you can do. So I broadly classified two things as a dentist you can do after your internship is be in dentistry or be out of dentistry. So that is as simple for me. You want to be as a dentist or be in dentistry is one, or be out of dentistry is another one. So let me try and put a lot of points on how to be in dentistry, how to survive in dentistry, how good and how best you can grow in dentistry as a first part. Then I'll go off dentistry, what are the opportunity available. First thing, as options which is available to be in dentistry. One, as commonly all of us know, all of us think, wish is to escape the country and leave overseas. I've seen on the brochure of this course that you have somebody coming up second day or third day to talk about overseas opportunities for you as a dentist. Yes, that is something which we can really look on it. But when you start thinking about it, give a deep thought process about it. I've seen most of our young generation now who are in internship. Before even you go for a movie, you just go back, review it, discuss about it to your friends, have a thorough knowledge about it, then you go even see a movie. So when you are taking an hour or two to read the review about it, discuss about it, and go and see a movie which is going to be 100, 150 or 200 bucks to spend, under 3 hours of your lifetime to be spent inside that theater. When you are taking this decision that you would wish to go abroad, take that decision with very informed, informative, backgrounded things in your hand. Discuss yourself whether you're fit and suitable for it. Discuss that with your family. Prepare your mindset towards it, and then take that first step. Because I've seen a couple of my friends, a lot of my students, a lot of them who come back to us for job, being underinformed, underprepared, attempting to do this decision and getting failed on a midway. Because as undergraduates, as you pass out, every day, every month of your career, after this 5 years is what is going to set a stage for your future. So whenever you want to do this, you do this at your internship. So what are you supposed to do? Is the consultant a one-point solution for all the opportunities in earth? No. Is there any person, is Dr. Arun the one-point solution who can give you what you can do after your undergraduate? No. You have a wonderful tool, which is the internet. With all those unwanted time we spend on it on social media, try and put at least an hour. If you decided, yes, boss, I want to go to my go back to dentistry, but I want to go and do it outside India, try and put at least 1 hour in your internship daily to look and find out each country, what is the opportunity for you to be employed, for you to be educated, for you to be practicing. Because you're going to only look at 3 goals. You're going to look at whether I can be employed directly with my recognition and degree, or can I go study there, or boss, can I go work there after I study? So have these 3 goals, pen down all the countries you wish, and then fill it up. So when you pen down these things, you don't go about fancy destinations which you wish, which you have in your bucket list. Like, I want to be in Switzerland, I want to be in France, I want to be in Mauritius, I want to be in Maldives. You don't go that way. You see that where is opportunity good in rest of India as a dentist. Try and put these kind of search keywords and then take from it. So what you have to do, if you decided you want to go browse borrow information from your friends, family who are there. Borrow deeply into those information, whatever you get, and start penning down what are the plus, what are the minuses, which suits me and which will not suit me. To give a broader perspective with the limited knowledge what I have for undergraduates overseas, I have three set of opportunities which was in front of me, as well as most of the dentists whom I am interacting across the globe tells me is, boss, if you wish to work, you don't want to study one more time, then Middle Eastern countries, African countries are the only options where you go do your license, which can be a one-time theory exam or one-time MCQ exam, or you do an MCQ exam, then you do a clinical practical exam, then you start applying for your job, and then you work, and then you slowly, get transferred to multiple jobs. So Middle Eastern countries and African countries are those two opportunities. There are different set of rules. For example, UAE, your Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and your Al Ain, Ras Al Khaimah, and all the 7 Emirates requires an undergraduate to have a minimum 5 years of experience even before you apply to these jobs. And these 5 years of experience should not be in a teaching institution where you work as a lecturer. You have to be employed on a reputed dental clinic or a dental chain, which adds value when you go present your CV and your experience at here. So UAE in the Middle East is most complicated, complex exam to crack, because they prefer more white-skinned dental graduates and the Middle Eastern dental graduates from Iran, Sudan, those countries, because the language barrier is avoided for those graduates. So Middle East is a tough call, but the opportunities are good if you try and take a Saudi kind of an opportunity. So look at Middle East, for which prepare yourself, increase your clinical skill, and become a multidisciplinary dentist. Spend 5 good years in a good clinical practice, enhance your skills, then start applying to it. As I told, browse, borrow information, burrow down deep into that information before you decide. So browse on these things, because the rules and regulation keeps changing as we talk today. Borrow information with your friends, seniors, relatives who are on these countries to constantly feed you with those information, so that you are constantly preparing yourself for what you are going to face and where you are going to go. And burrow deep into it to see whether you are ready for working in such an environment. So for example, there are a lot of compromise when you go to Saudi. You'll have to have a lot of compromise on the working style, living style, and in the working culture. So these kind of things which you have to prepare. So Middle East and Africa is a good opportunity. Africa is something what we feel as of now, there is not much of licensing required. You take your degree, apply, have a viva, and start practicing it. As every one of us, as I am talking, think in your mind that Africa is unsafe. Yes, it is unsafe, unless otherwise, if you don't know where you are going. So pick up a country which is more safer, which is like your Zimbabwe, which is like your Uganda, or any of these African countries which is decently developed. You have a good opportunity there, and then you can look out for those opportunities. In the European countries, coming next, opportunity to get employed only by our qualification is not possible, where you'll have to go do some licensing exam, where you go to UK, you clear your licensing exam, which is very tough to crack. But then if you crack, you really have a good opportunity to make a job, make a job opportunity for your own self. So that is really possible. Language is once again a barrier when you go to countries which is not English speaking. For example, your Germany, your Swiss, your France, language is a barrier. So clearing licensing exam becomes a big task without a language. So European countries, your opportunities are very less beyond United Kingdom, Ireland, and Scotland. So if you are preparing yourself for the language, if you are prepared enough to go do another qualifying exam or a graduation and practice there is an opportunity, but it is not as easy like you going for a Middle Eastern country. And other two things, which is two other countries which is available, two other continents which you can always look out is look for Australia and New Zealand. post-COVID, I've recently got some information from some of my friends, students who are there in Australia, that immigration for dentists is also open. So in-demand professions required for Australia and New Zealand has a list in which dentistry is also been added a year before is what I've come to know after COVID. So Australia and New Zealand is also a good opportunity as a dentist. The exams are fairly tough, but to do something, you have to sacrifice something, put something in effort to reach there. And the lifestyle is very good. The earning is also good there. So people who are looking at overseas can also start browsing, borrowing information from their neighbors, friends, burrow deep into those information, see whether you are fit for doing it. In Australia and New Zealand, I've also seen commonly in less populated counties like Queensland or other areas, a lot of opportunities and a lot of flexibilities given for these exams for you to go and practice. So try and look at New Zealand, Australia as well. The last about overseas, what I would try and do is inform you is US and Canada is also a good place. Canada is having a fairly tough exams to clear, so do US. But the major challenge which Indian graduates we face is post your undergraduate, getting a visa to go and clear your national dental board is a challenge. Then if you go clear your national dental board, then to get an admission with self-funded is a problem. To my knowledge, most of the private universities which takes international students in US, Canada, the courses are varying between 2 and 3 years. And the cost ranges between 75, 80 lakhs to 1.2 crores. If you have somebody who's a green card holder who can vouch and give a guarantee, you can go for federal loans, which is of less to no interest, which you can repay after your graduation. It starts, your repayment starts after you complete your graduation, start your employment. The basic per hour salary as per American Dental Council, Canadian Dental Council is fairly good enough. Most of the dentists who have been there have become successful. Most of them, the few of them who's not been successful is those who are found it difficult to crack their exam. Some of them who have cracked their exam could not arrange funds for themselves, because that is the two important recipe which you will have to look whether you have it within you, so that you can crack these exams and then sail through this full cycle. I can quote some of my examples. A friend of mine who passed out with me undergraduate. I did my UG with Annamalai. Friend of mine, Arul Selvaraj, who also did with us. All of us came to Chennai. They prepared to go to the US. I prepared for my postgraduate, and then I joined my post-graduation. Then I did my endo, joined as a lecturer, then became as a reader. By the time I was a professor, this gentleman was in touch with me. We were thick friends. So he went there, did his DDS. He was very passionate to become an oral surgeon. He went back, did his oral surgery, which is a 5 years course there. And by the time he finished 3 years of DDS, 5 years of oral surgery, it was 8 years. By the time I finished my MDS and I became a professor around that 9 years time. So at that point of time, I had my requirements fulfilled by my individual earnings. Let it be a car, let it be a house, enough and more savings. This gentleman started from their scratch, where I met him after his postgraduate. Then I met him after 4 or 5 years. The amount of earning which he did and the amount of wealth he could create in that 5 years was, say, 40, 50 times better than what I did in 9 years. So that is the opportunity which you have in front of you, provided you have that in yourself to do that. So that way, US, Canada is something which has an opportunity. I wish all of you could start looking for it and prepare yourself for it. Second, other than overseas as an intent, what you do. So what next for me if I'm not going for overseas? I have something called as read or research or realign yourself. So if you decide, okay, I'll go for MDS. Okay, you read for your MDS, try to crack your MDS with this NEET coming in, and MDS is not as bad or as tough like the days which we used to be. The time I used to graduate, we used to have only one government dental college with 7 seats for an MDS. To be on the top 7 bus, I am not prepared for it. So we don't try even attempting it. With a lot of number of seats increased and a lot of opportunities opening, prepare yourself for your NEET. try to crack your need, join an MDS. Try and join the department which you feel that you are interested. Because unless you are interested and just for sake of MDS, if you're joining, that is another recipe for your failure. Try and explore as an intern, doing all the dental treatments, what you feel you are comfortable doing. Doing this some treatment at some point of time will really give you a kick that you feel great doing that. Pick that branch, pick that department, because as you grow in life, that passion will keep you sticky to the profession, unless otherwise if you don't have it with you. As most of us, as an undergraduate, I used to also feel I would like to become an oral surgeon or an orthodontist, because that was the two departments which was fancied when I was there. Even now it's been fancied for that matter. But as an intern, when I tried doing this, I decided, boss, I am not prepared, or I am not made for this when it came for orthodontics. So on my early internship, I decided, yes, boss, I am not going with ortho. Then oral surgery kept me happy. I tried doing it. But at some point of time, I kind of started liking the conservative dentistry and endodontics, because I thought it was a faster and quicker way of providing solutions, and the volume of work what you learn in that post graduation was good enough and wide enough. So I opted for it and I studied. And in this busy schedule and with this business background, still I somehow pushed myself to operate or work on patient in my clinical practice at least 2 hours a day, or at least 12 hours a week, because this stickiness or this kick of treating patients and making them happy and see them feel happy after the treatment keeps me attached, sticky to my profession. So always when you decide that you would like to read and you would like to study your MDS, see whether you have something for it, then go for it. For some of you who are very passionate about reading research, you have a lot of avenues which has been opened. Your clinical research and a lot of other things which is opened up. I'm not able to find and guide you with names. A lot of dentists I've seen are very successful on these research platforms. And these dentists are not sticking on only dental materials. They've been very successful in pharmaceutical. They've been very successful in research. They've been very successful in medical, allied medical and biomedical fields as well. So if you're somebody have research in your mind, you don't want to spend that extra cost on your MDS, then go looking out for your opportunity in research. Go looking out in medical fraternity, biomedical, as well as medical technology, because these are the things which is evolving. And being a dentist, you get qualified very quick, very fast to these professions. So look out on this as a researcher. If in case you feel, boss, I am not fit for it, I don't want to go to overseas, and I am not fit for my MDS, then try and realign yourself and see what you wish to do as an entrepreneur, or as an businessman, or as a profession with passion or without passion in dentistry. If you wish to do that, try and realign yourself. So what are those realigning options which is available with you? Yes, I am not a great clinician. I don't want to be as a clinician. Then what do I do? Yes, then boss, that is where we come into place. Our corporate dental world is evolving. This is my last part on dentistry, and a very small point I'll cover on the non-dental opportunities. Corporate dentistry is evolving. One story I would like to tell all of you at this point of time is, I've met a dentist who's a prosthodontist, passed out of government dental college. I'm not sure whether it's government dental college, passed out of Indore, his UG, and then did his PG in Bangalore, and then went back to prostho practice 4 years. He and his brother was working with the Hindustan Lever Limited, sat, discussed, and thought, boss, why and what can we do different in dentistry? Instead of putting a practice, instead of working with a dental chain, instead of starting a dental chain, or instead of complaining that dentistry is hopeless and I'm jobless, instead of going and looking out for jobs and being unhappy and satisfied without any belief in this job, these two small boys, maybe they should have been 27, 20 years old, discussed and then decided, okay, boss, why don't we start something where we take dentistry to the homes? So they decided this idea for people who are aged, people who are medically not well, hemiplegia, paraplegia, patient with stroke, old age, amnesia. All these people don't have an access to regular dental clinics. Why don't we start this?
So they packed their bags, started a small venture in Indore, started a small venture in Bangalore, borrowed little money and started purchased a second-hand Omni, hired few dentists and few people, took a camp chair, went doing home dentistry. Slowly the traction started building in. That is where they met few of their what you call the mentors, you call it, like the Bunsels of Lenskart. They met and then they told, this is what we are doing. Then this gentleman gave them an idea. Why do you want to stop this as a service, which has money as a byproduct? Why don't you do a little bigger vision? What they did is correct or not. We are not here to debate, my friends here. But what they did change their life is what I was trying to tell. So this Bunsels, which is the owners of Lenskart, gave them an idea telling that, boss, with my friends, I will give you 1 crore each. Like if somebody asked me, boss, I want to do some business, give me 1 lakh, I would do. Some of you would be good enough to give a 10,000 rupees to somebody to give it a try. So Bunsels, who are promoters of Lenskart, felt giving 1 crore rupees, and their friends who are also equal promoters gave 1 crore each to these 2 graduates and told them, boss, try and do something other than treating in home, which can be a B2C business to customer directly, like your aligner or whatever it is, and come back with a success story. We will see what we can do. So these 2 gentlemen decided aligners. So they bought their own intraoral scanner. They bought their own milling machine. They designed their own algorithm, and they designed their own platform. They made a health tech platform. With this 7 crores of 7 friends of Bunsels putting 1 crore each to experiment and see what these graduates will do. Exactly at September 2019, this funding was given to these people. All of us know 2020, January, COVID hit, and 24th of March, lockdown started. But these people never gave up. They kept pushing themselves. 30 months into that efforts, they were able to scale up 11 crores of revenue for the first 12 months, and then some 15 crores of revenue on the second 12 months. Did they make profit? No, they didn't make a profit. But yes, did they acquire a lot of customers and tell the stories back to their investor? Yes, they were all happy. You will not believe, my friends, these 2 gentlemen then went on to a private equity player called Chicago Capital, showcased their success story, raised 180 crore rupees. It is not valued at 180 crore rupees. They were funded with 180 crore rupees into their accounts, and they were asked to go build dentistry in a different way. So the 7 crores and this COVID time, we all would have felt COVID has come. We have been bogged down. Dentistry has been fully gone, and this profession has burst. There was 2 young boys, who made a 7 crores seed investment, build an empire. Though they didn't make a profit, they made a statement to their investor. Today is funded with 180 crores, and they are growing up. This story of Smile AI is a brand which they are building in. So every one of us has something within us. Unless otherwise we believe and we put our efforts, we don't grow there. So at this juncture, as I was telling people, if you're not made for your MDS, you're not made for your research, you don't want to go overseas. Where do I go is something which I want to take. You decide your career, boss. I am going to make something big on this. Come to one of us, the lot of dental platforms, dental change, which is available. Come with the belief and faith. Invest your time. Invest your time, because I remember back in my young age, my grandfather used to tell, Arun, if you want to prove or do something, spend at least 12 years on it. Every 6th year, you'll know whether you're on the track or not. Because that comes from the Gurukul system. Back in the days, the Gurukul was 12 years. That is where our academic programs are also designed, from class 1 to 12. So if you are in war after your final BDS, after your internship, get inside one informed business opportunity. If you're not fit for any of those things, if you decide you're not for it, put at least 5 years, my friends. Without that, you will never reach anywhere. When we are talking about 12 years, invest another 5-6 years with any of the dental chains or any of the entrepreneurs. Believe and put all efforts without seeing what is your returns. At end of third year, you'll see that, as a person, as an individual, you have become better. At end of sixth year, you will start believing that you have something within you which others are not having. The next 6 years is where you see and you taste your success. This is the same story which I also went through. I finished my MDS. I tried doing everything for the first 6 years. I was in full-time academics. Then I went into full-time practice. Then I bridged both and I tried. Then I decided, okay, the mix of both gave me that a clinician with a business acumen will be a deadly combination for me. So that is where I left maybe a 6-7 figure earning job and jumped into entrepreneurship. And today I'm just growing from where I was to where I am till today and every day. So this 5-6 year as dentist, if you wish to invest, we are dreamers. We dream big. I am looking at, say, 110 centers in Tamil Nadu. If I need 110 centers, boss, I need only 50 dentists who has belief in them, who has belief that what vision I work will also take them with them. Then join hands, be patient, try it for 3 years and see whether you have the skin on the game. Then next 3 years, you will decide, yes, you are with the right profession, right direction, right job. And then next 6 years, after the first 6, you will be assured that you will face success. So with that, I would like to conclude, look opportunities in every part of problem, what you see in healthcare or in dentistry. When you run behind opportunities, you will not get what you want. When you run behind problems, then you will reach where you wish to do. So finding solution is the biggest recipe for success, then finding opportunities. With that, I thank Team SRM and then I hope I could conclude my talk in the given 30-40 minutes. And for the 40-50 of you who have attended, hope I could give you some knowledge. My contact details are there on Google. You put my name, somewhere or other I will be found. Your efforts to find me, reach me if you wish that you would like to do something in dentistry. Thank you all of you. Thank you organizers for a patient listening and this opportunity. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Arun. It was fine presentation. And moreover, there is so much of positivity on air when we speak to you regarding, and it's so much of motivation that you have given all of us, irrespective of whether it's students or other staff members who are listening to your presentation. Now I call upon Dr. Karthikeyan to deliver the concluding remarks.
Thank you, Dr. Arun. Thank you, sir. Very nice presentation, Dr. Arun. You have given a lot of info and a lot of tips for the undergraduates and the. So coming to the question and answer session, we have 2 questions. One from practitioner actually. Partially you have answered this question in your lecture. It is very difficult to manage one single clinic in terms of patients, staff, doctors, consultants, materials, etc. How you are able to manage so many dental centers efficiently? This is the question.
Arun, you need to unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, Arun.
As a clinician, if you cannot manage one clinic, few doctors, few consultants, how do I manage this many number of clinics, this many number of? That was a very sensible and good question. This was the same doubt which I had when I started working with Apollo. When I took over Apollo as a clinical director with 12 clinics, when Apollo told me, boss, let us expand. We had that fear in mind. But on scale, your problem becomes smaller, or we can even tell on scale, you only have to find solution for the same problem. So whatever problem you face in one clinic is the same what you face in 10 or 15 clinics. So when it is on scale, when you have people at every role, every level, to solve this problem, then it becomes a little easier to manage it. So if you know what is your problem, if you can find a solution for the problem and put a person for it, then the clinics go in autopilot mode. Yes, but managing people is the art which you have to learn by yourself. Once you can manage people and once you can position people at the right places, knowing where problems will come, then solving problems will become an easy task. So way back when I started, I used to get 150 calls with 150 problems. Later, I started getting only 10 calls, which were the 150 plus 10 numbers, which was not managed by my team. So there, your problems becomes repetitive. Your team will be more capable of managing that. Only newer problems at newer times, you will have to find solution for it. Hope I answered that question.
Karthikeyan, are you there?
New practice. Can you able to hear me?
Karthikeyan, you're not audible.
Can you able to hear me, ma'am?
Not very clear. Can you come again?
The second question, ma'am. Can you able to hear, ma'am?
Yeah.
The second question is actually from an academician who has recently started her practice. The question is, what are the flowery equipments which I need for fruitful practice? Dr. Arun?
Arun, you need to unmute. You are muted.
What are the, I didn't get the second half of the question.
What are the flowery equipments which I need for a fruitful practice?
I didn't get that word. What is that?
Flowery equipments.
The voice is breaking.
State of art equipment.
What are the minimum basic equipments, or what are the state of art equipments should I have if in case I am looking at practice? Okay, yes. So now when it comes to clinical practice,
Karthikeyan, your voice is breaking.
Karthikeyan being a classmate, UG batchmate of mine, and then junior and PG, and we work together. Ideally, this digital webinar has to become a classmate get together. So we'll call Karthikeyan down here to ask the question. We'll make a we'll do Karthikeyan to comment and then
Dr. Arun, can you hear me? Arun? Actually, the second question is.
I can hear you, boss. Yes.
This is from an academician, actually. She has opened her new practice now. Her question is, what are all the flowery equipments which I need for a fruitful practice?
And the word is missing. Flowery equipments are what equipments?
Flowery.
What does it?
State of art equipments are
because you're using I am from Annamalai University. You're using what equipments do you need to have? Anything and everything which you feel which can treat yourself or your family is supposed to be there, because as a person I believe strong in autoclave. As a person I strongly believe in RVGs because radiation is something which I am concerned. Sterilization of instrument is something which I am concerned. I strongly believe in X-ray machine, normal 25,000-30,000 X-ray machines. So when it comes to a clinic, the easiest way to decide what should I buy is you should feel that if I'm going to treat my friends and family in that clinic, will I treat with that? Then that is good enough to justify it. Yes, autoclave is very important. Radiograph RVG is very important. A fair, good X-ray unit is a fair important thing. A decent chair, which is something which is good for you as well as for the patient, because the patient is going to spend a few hours only on your chair, but you're going to practice 6-7 hours on the chair. So your back and your neck is more valuable than the chair what you're buying in. So you invest on a fair, good chair, which is going to give you a comfortable working environment. So these are a few things which you have to have. All other fanciness is to give a convincing factor. The waiting area, sofa or a chair, you put a cassette AC or a split AC. You have a receptionist who's similar to your housekeeping, or a receptionist who's similar to a model. Because in business it is all about quality and glamour have to mix at a careful blend. So that is how you go on life, because you go to a shop where it is uncrowded, you bargain. You go to a shop which is crowded, you don't bargain. So learning dental skills as well as learning customers' mentality are two successful combination you will have to imply. You, the best clinician, I've seen very good people who have been in my undergraduate, postgraduate, have best skills than me, but still as a clinician I'm not successful because of a combination of few things. Either they are reserved, introvert, where they don't talk much to the patient, or they talk more technical which the patient cannot understand, or they have everything in them but they're not able to showcase themselves. These are few things which is a combination required for a practice. If only infrastructure and equipments are the recipe for a successful practice, today you will see a lot of successful practices because that doesn't go with only infrastructure. Other combinations like the skills, your capability to convince, your capability to communicate is a bigger significant asset on your clinic for a successful practice. Infrastructure wise, have all basic things which you feel if you want to treat your parents, then you have that. That is the easiest way to start your practice. As and when you grow on your practice, add things which will enhance your skills, which will reduce your time, which will also give your patients more convincing capacities to increase your increase your cost. Because one thing which we have seen in dentistry is none of us are capable or strong enough to revise our tariffs. But as a practice, something which we try and do every year is we revise our tariffs. But for that convincing message to reach your customer, you will have to also upgrade your practice so the customer feels that you're only revising the tariff and you're degraded in all other aspects. So you'll have to balance both. So the customer should have a look and feel of that increased tariff is worth enough. Hope I answer your question.
Thank you, Dr. Arun. It was a wonderful lecture. Thank you once again for sharing your knowledge with us. Thank you.
Thanks, Doctor.
And thank you, Arun. After 2 lectures which were totally academic in nature, this was totally, something which everybody look forward to. And your blank slides actually gave a lot of tips for the people, and it was really wonderful. I was wondering how you are going to showcase only one slide and carry on for 1 hour. But you usually did it. I know you. If you would have given you another,
show the third slide, I think so.
And I'm sure
I missed my third slide. I only showed 2 slides of the third.
And I know the third slide is just a thank you slide. So even you another hour, you would have gone on and on. I know, and you're capable of. And for all the listeners, I've seen grow right from immediately after he's finished his MDS till now, and you should listen to him. You should talk to him and get some motivation in life. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Arun Kulandaivelu, for a wonderful lecture, and thank you, Dr. Karthikeyan, for moderating this session. I request Dr. Arun to kindly accept our token of appreciation for your intellectual output. Can you display the certificate? Yes. Thank you, Dr. Arun. I also request Dr. Karthikeyan to kindly accept our token of appreciation. Over to Dr. Monisha.
Thank you one and all for joining with us for the session of day one. We would now